Hello, everybody. It is going to be colder nowadays, and we have team members and group members who are doing more exams and homeworks this week. But it's still an honor for me to be able to uh, continue to share, and hopefully this will be inspiring for you guys. Today, I wanted to talk about talk about a very interesting economic phenomenon. It has also a lot to do with our current what we're going through currently as a nation. I'm not going to talk about partisan politics, obviously, or election policies, and nothing controversial, but I am going to uh, dive, mm, dive a little bit into the economics of election and society in general, as well as the lessons for us as students and individuals uh, in on our way to chase our individual dreams. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's been quite a journey watching the daily news and most recently the election news. It is a very exciting kind of um, series of events that are being put on every day uh, from a viewpoint of an economist and public policy. Anybody who's majoring in public policy or who's passionate about social justice, they should all find this election season very interesting. It's very also very informative to be able to see different policies being explained and promoted, laid out for people to choose from. Um, uh, Not to mention all the passion, jokes, entertainment value you get as a byproduct of these campaigns and elections events. Um, I think there definitely will come a time when I'm super serious and I have to be super responsible uh in what I where who what where when I vote to be able to so to speak cast my vote and do my part in steering the country. But as of this year, I'm not having that burden, so I kind of approach it with I treat it as like a background noise when do hard work of studying or coding. Uh, Although half of the time I'm actually listening on to all these economic policies. Uh, Elections and campaigns in themselves were in the nature of, in the terms of economics, advertising. What are they advertising? They're not advertising certain products, tampons, no. Toilet paper, no. They're advertising policies, or I think you could think of each candidate as a representative of a set of policies, or some people might argue ideology, or I don't like the word agenda, but in its bones, it's policies. It's economic policies, social policies, military policies, and I think on the outer layer, you have environmental policies, and of course, very important for the United States is the foreign policy, because United States is a very influential country whose foreign policy would influence beyond the borders of itself. So having established what the nature of their campaign, we can now further dig into the concept of advertising. The advertising economics has a very interesting dichotomy actually, and in a way in a way it is treated differently chronologically. Before a certain point in time, I'm talking about somewhere in the latter half of the last century. Before that point of time or that decade, I think traditional economics and traditional economists literally views advertising as a waste. After that point of time, however, it is regarded as of a non-waste. It's necessary. Like think about all these companies, they put billions of dollars each year into, or even trillions, each year into advertisement of their of the services and goods they provide themselves itself. Like on top of this base, think about on top of this base of cake or bakery, they put all these resources into building a fancy outer box, like a package. They put figures from the movie Frozen onto even the top of the box to decorate. I think they put so much thought, effort, resources, planning, resources, money eventually into advertising. That is why some people literally viewed advertising as what a waste. What a waste. We what a waste. People want the cake. They don't eat actually the advertisement. They don't actually eat the package. But unfortunately, or may I say fortunately, advertising is now considered necessary. Um, and thus the cost of advertising is an integral part of delivering and making people know there a certain kind of product and services. So that is because deep down within the cost within the action of advertising, there's this very subtle aspect to it. Other than literally delivering the news, spreading the word that this product exists, it also um, it also does something called signaling, i.e., it signals that our product is so good that we went to all this trouble to make you know and to attract you. In other words, the quality of our product or service for any business, they would say, is good enough that it's worthy of all this campaigning. Right now, the presidential candidates like Mr. Trump or Miss Kamala Harris, what they're essentially saying uh, is that my policy, my plan, um, my statesmanship would be so good that it's worthy for me to go all into, and my team to go all into all this trouble to make you guys know and worthy for you guys to vote for me. So the very cost of advertising is exactly what it is. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice so that they can convey to you. They can they can so that they can have the opportunity to try to convince you to buy their service. Uh, what do you guys think? I think that this to me has always been a struggle too. Like it's almost like I have two parts of my brain. I literally 50-50. Half of my brain agrees with the first school of waste theory. Or attitude toward adversity. And the other half of my brain does actually not agree to it. The other half of my brain think it's rational, think it's necessary, think it's inevitable, and think it's beneficial. Like how the hell would I know Mr. Candidate One believes and would do once he's elected. How the hell would I know Miss Presidential Candidate Two would behave once she's elected? So to me, it's a very it's a very perplexing issue. I think to everybody too, especially when it's your turn to advertise, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of resources, mindfulness, planning for you to advertise yourself. That is why job hunting is such an experience that I don't think anybody would volunteer for. Everybody, when they're trying to hunt a job, they're like, oh, it's so hard. Yeah, at least all the students I know and all the colleagues I met at dining halls, they're all like frowning after they went to career fair. But so yeah, but that's but as a matter of fact, um the the fact of the matter is, what's the alternative? We can either choose to be a democracy where ideas can flow freely and compete, or we could we or we could go or the other option is say North Korea. There's no advertising. No candidate would need to campaign for his own policies. That's because there's no choice in that space. There's no choice and there's no options to choose from. There's nothing to make up one's mind about. So considering that alternative, I would say advertising and a cost of advertising is just an essential part of the cost to incur when you enjoy freedom. Freedom for the suppliers to pursue their freedom of their policies, as well as freedom for the voters and the consumers to choose whatever fits them best. Of course, on the road to that, there's huge cost and huge resources involved and being spent on. Coming from a more frugal cultural background, that seems to me to be super wasteful at times. But I think the other day I was reading, again, not to push any views on anybody, but personally, as a Christian, I was reading the Bible for myself, and I think one scripture last week really strikes me is the one that says, "Let what belongs to Caesar go to Caesar, and let what belongs to God go to God." Personally, to me, that just means many of the things that we do, even down to even we're just a humble student, whether we're a humble student or we are a powerful political candidate, many of the things we do, many of the things we we could not do without certain resources, but those resources does not come solely from within ourselves. Many people now have their education paid by the money not technically theirs. Um, some have it coming from parents, from institutions, from the government, from this source, foundation, that scholarship, from here to there. And they are going to receiver of this tuition. So that in a sense really should put you at rest. But well, in a humble rest, in the sense that uh, resources do flow from there to there, from A to B to C to D, from this position to that place. And many times when I am suffering financial difficulties or personal crisis of any magnitude, in any kind, even in all the other aspects of my life, I just try to remind myself, um, things flow to where things and resources flow to where they belong. And in a sense, we ourselves as individuals, we're just but a transition stop. And we're the medium, like we're the middle stop, so to speak, of this flow. So what we could do at the very best is simply just do our work. And that scripture happens when some people was trying to, um, asking a hard question to Jesus. Do you think we should pay taxes to Caesar? And that was his answer. Yes, we should. We let Caesar, what belongs to Caesar go to Caesar. Uh, in a sense, we're a middle stop. We're not actually the owner of these resources. We're like the pipe, so to speak, those resources flow through. And by our simple work, sometimes appalling, surprisingly simple work, so simple that we don't think we deserve any resources. By the token of our simple work, we we actually move things forward, and we move resources into places. I remember like one time by the way, I am a big fan of this movie star called Matt Damon. I watch every one of his movie. I love his acting and I love him personally. So when he was starting out as a actor that nobody knows in Hollywood, when he first ventured out in California, he was penniless. He doesn't have a fixed job. He doesn't have a stable income. And years later, when he was giving an interview, he said the one line that sustains him was a teaching from his mentor, telling him, just do your work. Just do your work. Just do your ABC, your basic steps. Um, just do your work. And that's because that's probably the only thing you could do. And sometimes, actually many times, we have to find a way to just do our work and not caring too much or at all about the result of the feedback of the circumstances of how that would, whether it would have effect or not, big effect, small effect, no effect at all, no use at all. Sometimes all we can do is just try our best, release it to the world, and somehow admit, confess that it's none of our business what happens to our work. This is especially true to authors and artists whose work is especially challenging in that sense. Um, they put in their best work, yet how the audience would react, would they carry them into fame, stardom, or just ignore the works of them? That's out of the hands of people, that especially out of the hands of the artists. So yeah, I think I'm glad to share today from all the way from the biggest political event of the day into our personal lives. And um, thank you guys for watching. For all my college group students, I love you guys, and I'll be continuing praying for your works. Just like I said, the basic works are the only thing we can count on. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again